each one down at your feet. Every moment of my wandering.
If we're talking limited to Sundays as a day of Eucharist, then there are a limited amount of slots that a person can go in and take care of the obligation for a Eucharist. Therefore, having more opportunities to go throughout the day would probably be better for attendance-wise.
In order to increase attendance, personally in my own life, I believe that having been struggling with attending myself, I'm an ADHDer, but really see why that's not an excuse now. It's probably the fact that I just think the best way to do it, maybe a little far-fetched, but to really have real life experience of where faith and prayer is really needed. I think a lot of times we do math problems just to do them for practice, but when you become a professional, you see where they really fun, but then also you master them, I think in the same light, when you're in a situation where you have no other tangible answers, prayer all of a sudden takes this power, and I saw it very truthful down in Nicaragua, where a typical American life may be that you go and you work and you study really hard, but you have your ways of kind of venting and relaxing. Maybe a person or a teacher may be having a rough day, and a typical adult may say, I'm going to go have my glass of wine. Well, in Latin America, in these impoverished cities, they don't have that option. Their rough day was probably followed by a little bit more of a rough day when they got home and didn't have enough to put on the table. But somehow they got through, and when you're down there, you really see that it has to be prayer. Because there is no tangible wealth, there is no tangible love.
You got to make it more contemporary, more towards today. I think that's a message that the Pope is trying to send. He's trying to make it more, where people, it's more timely, more contemporary, real world examples. So I think that's the key. Is and you see that in all Christian groups, not just Catholic. It's all you've got to give people a reason to want to go. Not just the Eucharist. I just think in general, you got to have the church has to have more youth activities. When I grew up, there were a lot more activities in church. But you got them where a lot of Protestants are doing better. They have more youth organizations. They do more. They have a lot more, especially in the summer and on weekends. They have more things to do at church. I don't think we use the Knights of Columbus enough. They should use schools. The parishes should use schools that open the gym all the time. Have stuff for people, especially for kids that aren't old enough to drive, like 5th, 6th, 7th graders. It's real good to have stuff all the time. I was in one town where they would say the Methodists take Monday night in the summer, Baptists take Tuesday night, Catholics take Wednesday night, and then what they would do is they would just have, it would open to anybody, have stuff at school.
Well, I think that, and I hate to say this, but I think that that issue may be somewhat generational. I mean, I know there's an increasing percentage of the population, especially among millennials and younger people, who identify themselves as nuns. They call it the nun generation. I mean, literally, people who don't have any religious affiliation. And as to exactly why that happens, that's a very complex question. I think there are a lot of things going on in our society that may lead people to drift away from the church and from teachings. There's a lot more temptations for you guys than there were when I was growing up, and things that, really can, compete, I guess, if you will, with, Sunday morning time or Mass time, and draw people away from the church. And that's very unfortunate. But it also underscores the need to have an even stronger faith and more participation now. And it may be just that traditional model. It may be that the Eucharist, having the Eucharist at things like your senior retreat, when there's a Mass conducted there, or here at school. Of course, we don't have large numbers of students attending here at school either, but I don't know. It's a problem not just in the Catholic Church, but in all churches.
In our church out in Talty, I go to St. Martin's of Tours, and we're a growing parish. So our masses seem to be increasing, but in general, I would think that the decline in people taking the Holy Eucharist and attending Mass is probably due. It's a society type thing. Unfortunately, so many of us, so many people have gotten away from God, and therefore it's affecting their attendance at Mass.
As far as decreasing participation at Mass, I think that materialism has taken a lot of that people have more material things, so they feel like they're less spiritually inclined. I think that especially in young people, they feel like it's not exciting enough, it's not engaging enough. And I think also the church has not been as welcoming as it could be. It's not as welcoming as maybe some evangelicals or churches that are much more vibrant. It tends to be a little less welcoming. And church laws also have, especially for young people, have run a lot of people away. My daughter went through a bunch of stuff to get her marriage blessed in the church, and then one of the folks at the church lost her paperwork and told her she had to start all over again. And she basically said, "No, I'm not going to do that."
That people don't recognize the importance of going to communion, the added graces that you get every time you go to communion, and maybe perhaps that should be addressed in the pulpit. So I see either that, or else they feel that perhaps that they're not worthy. Maybe they haven't gone to confession. There probably has been a decrease in the number of people who participate in sacrament of reconciliation. So if I were a pastor, I would address the decrease twofold. I would say, if you are in the state of grace, then you should take advantage of this opportunity and go to communion every Mass. If for some reason you feel that there's an obstacle, then you should come and discuss that with the priest, and perhaps you could be reconciled in such a way that you would be able to participate.
Alright, so why do you think there's been a decrease in participation at Mass on Sunday?
I think there's been a decrease because people don't realize what the Eucharist really is, what they're missing out on. People see it as just an obligation or something that they have to do. And so if you see it as an obligation, then it's like, oh, I don't really want to, I don't feel like it. I think if people were really aware of the amazing gift that's being offered of the Eucharist, that it is the actual body and blood of Jesus Christ, then it turns into, okay, would I rather sit around and watch Netflix for another hour on a Sunday, or would I rather go receive the body and blood of my Lord in the Eucharist? And I think if people had that greater awareness, then you'd see a lot more participation at Mass.
I want what you want, Lord, and nothing.
Alright, so the Eucharist is a central part of the Catholic faith, and therefore it is important for Catholics to receive.
You must go to it every Sunday, but over the years there's been a noticeable decline of Catholics attending these Masses. It can be up to of all the Catholics in the city, maybe only 15% attend. So how can this problem be resolved?